Hey guys, this is Bales. I'm at FantasyLabs and going to show off Models 2.0. So this is a completely new version of player models that we created, and this will be a very brief overview of all of the additions and upgrades that we added to this, and then I will create tutorials on how to use each of these products. So you can just see what we have here and then dive into the other tutorials to really learn how to use everything. So the big difference is we're now allowing you to create your own player pools of players you'd like to use. So you can see currently I'm looking at quarterbacks on DraftKings for next week, and we have every player liked. You can do a quick action to unlike every player or like them, and basically when you like a player, it means that he can potentially show up in your lineups, or it's just a way to visualize all of the players who you like. So usually I unlike players and then like them, whoever I like, and then they will show up in this tab, My Pool. So these are the players that you have liked, and everyone else will be in the excluded tab. So you can easily see everyone who you potentially want in lineups. You can do it for DraftKings and FanDuel. And then if you want to bulk like or unlike, you can just hit those buttons. So basically we have Bortles, Tyrod, and Joe Flacco here. If we were to generate multiple lineups, we'll just generate 10 lineups. Those should be the only 3 quarterbacks who show up. So you can see you have Bortles in 70%, Tyrod in 30. You can also still set exposure. So say we want to get Bortles in as close to 50 as possible. We'll generate the lineups, generate the 10 lineups, and we'll have Bortles as close to 50 as we can get while still creating optimal lineups. But with player pools, you can set who you want at each position, and it's a way to diversify as little or as much as possible. So that's a really big upgrade. And the lineup builder, the multi-lineup tool in general, is going to be just a lot faster, and it's creating much better lineups. Next, we have a really cool feature called groups. So you can still build a lineup as you'd like here with the lineup builder. So say you want to lock in Bortles, and we'll go to running back, and you want Lamar Miller and Eddie Lacy. When you build the full lineup, you can save it, and it'll go to the lineups tab, which is now here. But if you just want to lock in a certain group of players, you can click Save to My Groups, and that group of players will go on this Groups tab. So you can see that group, and then when you go into the multi-lineup builder, that group will be right here, and you can give it exposure. So it's a way to build not only stacks, but game stacks and cores for your lineup. So if there's 5 guys you want in every lineup or half of lineups, you can do that. And then you set the exposure to that, and then you're going to have that core of Bortles, Miller, and Lacy in 50% of lineups together. And so it's a really cool way to build cores that you can use in your lineups. Then we have still the True Stacks builder. So this is you can set the default as a quarterback and receiver. So say we want to look at quarterback and 2 receivers. This is on the same team, and we want to optimize for rating. We can look at the top 200 combinations. So the top one, based on my model, is Bortles, Hearns, and Allen Robinson. We can load that into the lineup builder, or we can just save it, and when we save it, it'll go into My Groups here. So we save it, and then that's another group, and you can set exposure to it and add it to the multi-lineup tool. And finally, we'll optimize the lineup, so we can get a lineup here. We'll save it, and I'll show it to you it'll show up in the new lineups tab. So you can see all the exposure. You can also edit lineups now, just like you do on DraftKings or FanDuel. You can still export. We still have the exposure for everyone. I'll generate a bunch of lineups so you can see them all here at once. We'll save these 10 lineups. They'll show up right here. So now we have 11 lineups. You can see all of the exposure that you have to every player. You can also edit. So if we want to get Bortles out of this lineup, we'll edit. It'll go back to the multi-lineup tool, and you can replace him with whoever you'd want. Save the lineup, and just like that, you can save. You can also sort your lineups now by projection. You can look at who has the highest projected ceiling. You can look at who has the lowest ownership, the highest rating. After the week is over, you can look at which one scored the most actual points. And finally, you can search for players. And when you search for a player, it will show you not only the exposure that you have to that player and which lineups he's in, but it will show you the exposure to every other player in those lineups. So say we want to look at Tyrod Taylor here. We'll type in Tyrod. So we have Tyrod in 2 lineups, and then you can see this is the exposure to players solely in the Tyrod lineup. So Allen Robinson, Antonio Brown are in both. They're at 100%. So we'll do someone with a little bit more exposure. We know we have Bortles in a bunch. And so here are the 8 Bortles lineups, and you can see all of the lineups in which Bortles is in, and then the exposure. So we have a Bortles Allen Robinson stack and 38%. Obviously, we can increase that if we want by stacking. So that is, in a nutshell, all of the additions that we have to Models 2.0. We still do have filters, which we used to have in the multi-lineup builder. They are now here, so you can still filter players. So if you want to look at solely the top 30% by position, you can do that, and it will cut those guys off, and so you can look at solely the top X% that you want. So if you only want to consider the top 15% of players at a position, you can do that, and you'll be able to see your players in your player pool, excluded player groups and stacks, and my lineups, where you can export right to the daily fantasy site. So I'm still really excited. We still have all of the features that we had in the original models, but now a lot more functionality, and it's going to be just a lot easier to build the lineups that you'd like with the player pools and superior logic within the lineup builder.